Hello everybody and welcome to 97% Fire, the home of home recording. We start with a warning about online fraud. Now, later this month it's my wedding anniversary and I've bought my wife lots of expensive jewellery. However, the scammers have sent me this. A load of spare parts for the studio. Unbelievable. 4 years in a row. Of course, I'm just being silly. Wobbly cam. I wouldn't have bought my wife expensive jewellery. It would have been reasonably priced jewellery. Now, today's mission is we are going to move these speakers somewhere up there out of the way so we have more room for playing guitar, and also we're going to turn this into sort of guitar corner. But at the minute, if you hold in a guitar, you tend to hit the neck off the speaker or your arm off the drums, which is not handy when there's 4 people in the room. Now, there are loads and loads of guidelines for how and where to fit speakers in a studio. And today, we're going to ignore nearly all of them. And that's because there is the only place they can sensibly go. Right, let's have a look in the box. Maybe it is jewellery for the wife's anniversary. I'll be surprised, and she'd be amazed. Right. One-handed box opening. Now, as always, we are not sponsored in any way, shape or form, which is probably why most of my studio equipment comes from Jeff's online shop and not from Solid State Logic. What have we got? Ooh. WMS05 speaker stand wall bracket set. There you go. The cheapest on Amazon. Right, let's throw them at the wall. See if they'll stick. So these are the wall-mounted speaker stands, which is quite cool, and adjustable. They have built into the back. Will it focus? I won't know for another 20 minutes. A little tab there so that the speakers can't fall off. Now, these speakers are actually really light. So the idea being that fits in there, like so, and then we hang that on the wall. Now, in terms of speakers, symmetry is your friend. So what I'll do is I'll fit that one as close as I can to the window, and then I'll measure it on that side, hoping to avoid the guitars. Dead simple. Hold it where you want it. Draw a mark.
So we start by offering up the speaker bracket to the wall, making sure that it doesn't bang on the ceiling. And the next thing we need to do is to remove the old screws that were holding the current rail up. Now this is a bit tricky as they're full of paint, as you can see here. So top tip, if you hammer the bit from your electric screwdriver into the screw, it will break the paint and then you'll be able to unscrew it. I've then replaced that for a new screw, levelled up the bracket and drawn round the holes to mark where I need to drill. Now, simply drill out the 6 holes. As you can see here, I'm using a 2014 Dyson handheld vacuum cleaner. If you have a 2016, that will work just as well. Okay, so we've added some washers to the screws because the speaker bracket's holes are a bit on the large side and we don't want the bracket to fall straight off. And we send those home with the electric drill, checking for level. Bob's your uncle, although my uncle's called Eric. Well, one of them is. The other one's called Ray. We're getting massively off topic here. Boom, and it's done. Now, the next step, another top tip, is to measure the top fixing from the wall and from the ceiling. It's about 2 foot across and 3 foot down. And then you can mark that on the opposite wall, and that will mean your speakers will be equidistant from the parallel walls. This just helps with reflection and standing waves and that sort of stuff, although I doubt we'll be remastering Dark Side of the Moon in this room. They're also nice and high and away from the wall, which means we can sing standing next to them without having terrible amounts of feedback, just an acceptable amount of feedback. Again, same trick, brilliant camera angle there. You mark out the 6 holes with a pencil, drill, hoover, rule plugs, screws, done. Then a final adjust to make sure that the bracket is level. Throw the second speaker on, and there you have it. Next up in this exhilarating video of me screwing things to the wall is guitar wells. Now, regular viewers, apologies, will recognise these shelves from the shelves that we used to have. We are if nothing, if not cheap. Same trick, mark holes, drill holes, hoover holes, put rule plugs in holes, put screws in holes, holes no more. Now there is a slight juxtaposition here as I'm wearing ear defenders whilst using a drill, but I never wear ear defenders when playing the world's largest guitar amp. Anyway, guitar weld is now done. We simply add the Spark amp and the pod effects unit and we're good to go.
Okay, a quick sit rep on guitar weld because it is now connected and all working. So, as per standard, we have an electric guitar going through the red lead straight into the amp, so you can play in here. And then we can record that via an SM57, which goes down the patch bay next door. In here we also have, can you see it? Can you see it? Nearly, guitar DI. So the black lead goes straight into the back of the amp, which is direct out, built in. We also have the pod, which I'm using for 2 things. First of all, it's a really handy tuner, and second of all, I've wired that into the effects channel of the amp. So, in theory, will this work? So that's just a clean channel on the guitar. If I hit effects, then that should enable the pod and all the options that we have to us. Turn that back on. Ooh, reverb, and that just goes back to the amp, which is great stuff. The Spark amp I'm using just as a practice amp because it's quite quiet, and it also has a little headphone socket, although I could point the SM58 at the Spark amp and record that if I wanted to. PA is dead simple, that's still where it was. That is a wireless receiver mic there for singing during band practice as opposed to recording, and the cables simply go Little knots in the top. Keep them tidy, little knot on the top. Keep them tidy. I've also fitted a bracket for the bass and also another bracket for a guitar. That is just where the screws were already for the curtains, just to make it a bit neater. But look at this. Look at the space. Nice, clean, tidy install. We can record, we can practice, and we can also have rehearsals with the band. Marvellous. Right, that's it for this episode. See you again next time.